see you on Facebook or YouTube just yet. We're working on the details. Unless if you post in the chat. If you post a comment, I can see you in Facebook. I should be able to see you in Facebook or YouTube. Hey, all my Instagram peeps. Pam. What's up, Pamela? Long time no see. Hey, Tara. Waving back to you. This is awesome, y'all. I love being able to do this online. Well, it is noon, so I'm going to go ahead and get started with our little talk today. I'll tell you a little bit about what inspired me to do this over the last, 5 years. I've had a lot of integration with myself and realizing what it is and where I desire to serve with my unique gifts and talents. So this series was born out of a lot of self-work and self-realization and just following my heart of where I want to serve next and what I have to share with you all and stepping into my next journey. So the series, the Empowered, Empath, and Sensitive. So this is going to be a weekly talk, interactive. I'd love for you to post questions that arise for you, or just something you're going through, so we can dialogue about it. It's the best way. I want this to be interactive. I have a lot of experience, but you also have a lot of experience. So we're going to share different perspectives, and I'm going to talk on a topic. So please share anything that's coming up for you. And if I don't have time to get to it, I'm going to try and keep these sessions relatively concise and like 10 to 15 minutes, maybe longer if there's questions, so that I can go back later and answer the questions. I want to kind of dive into the meat of our topic today. So getting used to these little tools. So our topic today is, what does it mean to be an empath? It's sensitive and empowered. My entire life's journey has been pretty much devoted to this process with myself, coming into this experience, as I'm sure many of you all have. For me, I was super emotionally sensitive. I was aware really young that I was a gay person, but of course I didn't have those terms around it back then, at 5 years old. But there was something unique and different, and thus started and continued this journey of, why am I so sensitive? Why don't I feel like I fit in with everybody? What is different about me? Why do I, just lots of questions, lots of suffering, lots of isolation and loneliness that has carried on through my whole life and experience. And I really want this to be a real discussion. I want to bring my total self to the table to share with you all, because I feel that authenticity and that is so required at this point. And I invite you to do the same as we have this. I feel this to be a safe space. And if posting on the chats just doesn't feel safe for you for some way, I invite you to send me an email or message me through one of the social media channels, and I will be happy to get and put my perspective on your question out on another video. So, what does it mean to be an empath, sensitive and empowered? So after, I think it was my late 20s, before I finally realized that something big had to change with me. I didn't really know what it was, but it was a heart longing to discover this desire. There was like a burning desire within me. Oops, I just checked the Facebook. Is there no audio? Well, I have audio on this end. John, I see your post. Um, let's see. Sorry, y'all. I was getting used to all these different things. So I'll post a recorded. I have a backup version if this doesn't work in any of the areas. So I had this burning desire to discover something that was just in my heart, like a longing to be more, be bigger, be more authentic, be happier, and all these things. And so this just really, I see you all are on Facebook. Hey, you all, sorry about that on Facebook. We'll have to figure that out. If you can go to Instagram or YouTube, I think you'll be okay for now. We'll get this figured out. And I'll post the recorded version later. So, yeah, so this just desire. And from that desire, and from a desire as a person that likes to understand how things work, I spent the years from around the age of 30 to now I'm 44, fully and completely working on myself to get into understand what is all of this loneliness, shame, the sensitivity, hypersensitivity, understanding and having experiences of being around people and situation and environments and pulling that energy in. So many of you probably have heard online, or, if you've done research or just, as you connect with yourself, you've probably realized this term empath, or seen it out there, that people tend to reflect on it as something that those people that you take on stuff, you take on from the world, you feel external emotions, you just hold this energy. And I have had that experience as well, but it's really important for my experience in my own self-growth that we don't stop there. That is only a little fragment of the picture, and it's something that can help you go deeper within yourself. So yeah, some common traits. As an empath, you take on the world, you take on situations, but we're going to ask the question, why do I take on situations? Which is going to lead us later into empowerment. Hey, Jean. Hey, astronomologer, Noah. Good to see you all on Instagram. John and David and all y'all, excited to have you here. Again, we'll work out the bugs, but I'll post a recorded version later. So this whole thing of empath, we want to help. That's what I want to help with, is my message of the last almost 15 years of working on myself, is how to become more empowered, where you don't stay in the stuckness of, oh my gosh, I go into this room, I go into this situation around this person, and I take on all this stuff. There's so much you can do to become more empowered and still feel and still be sensitive and not be stuck with the stickiness. So I've really, over these years, have the term empath to me, I think that and feel that everyone is empathic in their true nature. And on this evolution on the planet that we're on, where we have this unique position where the old energies, the old powers that be, who didn't really feel, and I like to use the word care. I think the bigger picture with empath is caring for your fellow brother and sister human, no matter what they may be going through in their experience. It's just a sense of care and kindness And I know for myself, from as early as I can remember, I had that sense of care in my heart. And I bet many of you all have as well. But the question is, when that care turns to this overwhelmment from just taking things on. And I truly believe from the experiences that I've had that that's just a part of the growth process. It's just a part of learning to love yourself and take your power back. So that's a spin on, from my perspective, what it means to be an empath. It's about this care, and as we can see what's going on the planet, this is really starting to, more and more people are coming into their sense of care for one another, and it's through the pain, right? That's the key, that those of us on this empath and sensitive journey, is you have to experience the pain in order to kind of work it out with yourself. If you have, say some things that just don't make sense, please send me, post your questions or send me a message, because I want to dialogue about this really real, like get down to the nitty gritty over time. So, but today we're just exploring what is empath. And so what is sensitive? To me, these are used interchangeably quite a bit. I think they're both important in this conversation. And empath, as the definition that I'm giving from my experience, is this evolving sense of care for all beings on the planet. And most importantly, starting with ourself. If we don't have a sense of care for ourselves, it's really hard to care for others. And then, so the sensitive word is, as an empath or sensitive person, everyone has these varying degrees of what that means and what that looks like. But in general, in this discussion, as an empath and highly sensitive person that I'm talking about, those of us who have felt that way, felt potentially isolated or alone, or highly sensitized to emotions, energy, subtle energies, kind of extrasensory perception, I would call you on the higher scale of a sensitive. But we all have some level of sensitivity and honed in certain areas. But in this discussion, there's those of us that have come onto the planet. For me particularly, I've felt that way since I was a kid. Some people, some of you have moments in your life where all these like things come together. You have this kind of awakening or sense that connects you to your own empathic heart on a deeper level. But it doesn't matter. I believe, at the state of the planet and the earth, that we're all have this opportunity to come into and open up our empathic heart. One of my teachers that in the yogic world, Yogi Bhajan, talked about this time as a place to open and awaken our self-sensory system. I'm going to get deeply into that over the coming weeks and that sort of thing, because it's huge. It's a huge piece of this picture. It turns the spectrum from, out here, this thing is sticking with me, this person's emotion, that person's emotion. It turns it inward, and you can see it from, maybe that's talking about me. Maybe that is something that I need to look at as part of my individual transformation and healing, because there's two things going on. There's the collective and there's this individual transformation. They're happening together and separate at the same time. So being a sensitive and empath is a huge gift, not only to the planet, because we're collectively opening the heart of the planet and the care and the understanding together, but it also gives you more direct access to the transformation that's required within oneself, which is huge. It's really, really huge. But it's intense. It can be really intense for some of us. And these past, 15 years for me, I've had to look at a lot of shadows, deep, deep, deep. I've had to look at things that were uncomfortable, traumas, abuse, things that were sticky because external things and situations that brought up those traumas that I wasn't ready for a long time to go into, that's when the energy sticks. That's when it's sticky, and you walk into this group of people, and oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm sure some of you have had that happen. You leave that experience and you're like, oh, I just feel all this stuff sitting on me, or lots of experiences like that. Well, I've found that though that stickiness is really about how we can go in and see why is it sticking? What in our psyche, what in our mind, our thoughts, our experiences would create a space for stickiness, create a vibration for that to stick. So with that being said, it's so important. Self-care is the law for empaths and sensitives. You have to learn how to take care of yourself. And that taking care of yourself, the basic pleasure things of, taking sea salt baths and going for a walk and all those things are so important. But what I'm going to get into on this series and what I do as a professional coach and mentor is help people to create a space to have the discipline and rhythm to cleanse your mind and reprogram your body and mind to come back into its whole state. When it's in that whole state is when you become an empowered empath. When all of those external things, they make sense to you on a new way, and they're no longer a problem. They become an opportunity to use and come into your gifts and expand your own self out in whatever way your unique heart is called to do. So that is going to be the start of our discussion for what does it mean to be an empowered empath and sensitive. It's getting to know yourself better, getting to know yourself deeper, and learning how to go into depth with your being. One last little nugget, because to me this is a really important nugget. Hey Kelly, Bliss Life Coach, hey, good to see you all. This is a really important, there's a lot of nuggets. When we're looking at this whole approach to being, we need to look at, as an empath or a sensitive, your intuitive self, which is this upper triangle of your body, connects you to infinity, your vastness. Your heart, which connects you to your human self. And your lower triangle, which connects you to your animal and instinctual self. And for many empaths, me being the total, I was so like this. I was so uncomfortable in my animal and instinctual self from the traumas that I had, and the disillusionment with our tribalness and connecting as community, that I disconnected and had a lot of challenges with those first three chakras, those first three energy centers. If you don't know what that means, doesn't matter. But that lower foundational part in the body. And what I've learned is, as I've and it's been painful. I have cried a gazillion tears. I have had to yell and scream and get back to feel that tribal, my ability to hold power in this human vessel. It's one of the biggest topics that I want to share with you all over time is, how do we hold power in our human vessel? Where is it? Is it outside or inside? So these are topics and tools that are important to empower yourself and become an empowered, sensitive, and empath. So excited that you all have showed up today to listen to this kind of first discussion. And I wanted to also say that next week we're going to start the topic of what does self-care look like. what does this deeper level of self-care look like? Because you can find all kinds of information on self-care out there. You know, the gentle care stuff where the sea salt baths and using essential oils and things and energy work. Those are all, Reiki stuff is fantastic. I've spent years doing that, but there becomes a point for many of us where you need to take each one of those tools to a whole nother level, a whole nother of depth. You open up this intuitive self, and then you got to focus on the animal self, the instinctual self, the physical body. And when these two are working, you can be a full human. And that's where we're at on the planet. We've got people that are all animal, and we've got people that are all up here, and we've got to come together right here. And it's my total joy and excitement to show up for myself and share my experiences and wisdom on this, and learn from you all as well of how we can become more empowered in our life. Please, if you have any questions, or this has initiated some thought for you, which was my biggest intention for this first talk, was to initiate some inner questions to bubble up and see within yourself what calls to you next from this topic. So next week is going to be self-care. And from here until next, probably, I'm finding my little rhythm. We've got to work a few bugs out for those of you that didn't have sound on Facebook. But yeah, we're going to work this out, and we'll see what unfolds from here. It may be Wednesday a little later, or it may be Thursday next week, but every week. So you all have a super awesome day, and I will get the recorded version posted to Facebook and YouTube really soon. So lots of love to you all, and we will see you next week, and maybe even before. All right. Take care. Lots of love. Oh, hey, Stacy. I see you joined. Good to see you too, Kelly, and all of y'all. Excited for y'all to be a part of this journey. Hey, Tara. See y'all later.